Okay, so the last topic of this unit on a quadratic function is on what's called a vertex form. Or some people, some teacher will call it, teachers will call it graphing form. Now so far, we have been dealing with in the form of what's called a standard form. Y equals ax squared plus bx plus c. And that's called standard form. Okay, but there is another form of the of a quadratic formula, and that's called a vertex form, and it is in this form. And what we're going to do, we could actually spend over a week just discussing about this form, different forms, but all we're going to do is just to interpret what each number means. Okay, now I want you to write these things. However, you don't need to write this part here. Just hear me out here. Do you guys remember the linear equation? Okay, again, this part, linear. You don't need to write this down, but you had two different form of a linear function. Do you guys remember that? One is, it's called general form. You've got ax plus by equals c. And but also you had what graphing form, or commonly called as a y-intercept form. Y equals mx plus b. They both are a linear function, right? But it is in different form. You could go back and forth. If you have a graphing form, then you could change it into a general form. If you have a general form, you could change it into a slope-intercept form, right? And that's what exactly what this is. We've got standard form, and then we also have this graphing form. Okay, now this vertex form is called a graphing form for a good reason, because if you have the quadratic formula in that vertex form, you have a pretty fairly good idea of where the U shape, the parabola, is going to be, whether it's going to be U shape or whether it's going to be upside down U shape, whether it's going to be really narrow U shape, or whether it's going to be like a very flat U shape. All those numbers will indicate about some ideas, the shape, the form of the quadratic function. Okay, and so we'll explore that today. So far, just write these down right here. Do you guys all have that? Okay, so what I want to do is I've got here, I have a 6 quadratic function in various form. Well, not the form, but the variation of the equation. Numbers are very similar, but the signs are different. This one, and then the numbers. And I want you to just see what each number does. Okay. So for example, the first one. So I am going to share decimals. Now, if you do have working with a computer, and if you want to go along with me, I don't know if you can split the screen from right side and left side, if you know how to do that. If you just drag the screen and to the right, it kind of splits into the half. I don't know if you know the trick, but Anyway, if you can split and then keep this whiteboard on the left side and then Desmo on the right side, you're more than welcome to do that. Okay. So I'm going to share the screen here. We'll stop the screen and stop the Desmo. Where is Desmo here? Right here. Okay. Right there. Here it is. All right. Do you guys all see this? Now I won't be able to draw or write on the screen, and so you have to just follow as I describe. I have graphed this simple the most simple quadratic function that you can have, which is y equals x squared. Okay, when x is 1 is right here, y is 1 right here. When x is 2, 2 squared is 4 right here, right? So you've got this y equals x squared. This is a very, very basic, most simple quadratic function that you can have. Now, next, I've added this plus 5 right here. Would you take a look at the equation number 2? At least let's open up the chat if you have any questions or where is the chat? Okay, here it is. Just please let me know if you notice something wrong or you have a question, okay? So I'm going to activate the equation number 2 right here. You guys all see that? Now, what do you think this x plus 5, that plus 5 will do to the graph? You might be thinking that that would maybe shift the U shape to the positive direction, right? Because it says a plus 5. But let's activate that. Now that's the blue line is the number 2, x plus 5 squared, quantity squared. It shifted the parent graph y equals x squared 5 spaces to the left. Yeah. You guys okay so far? Okay. Now I'm going to activate the next one. So what do you think equation 3, x plus 5 squared minus 2, that minus 2 will do to the graph? Okay, I'm going to activate that right now. 3, 2, 1. Okay, that's the green one here. What happened there? It just lowered the x plus 5 2 spaces down, didn't it? Right? Okay. You guys okay so far? Now you don't have to write this. I will summarize this in the note whiteboard after this, but just watch and see if it makes any sense. How about, and I just want you to make a prediction, okay? How about equation number 4? What do you think that y equals 2 x plus 5 squared minus 2? What do you think that equation will do? I'm just going to deactivate equation number 2. So this is equation number 3 right here. Y equals x plus 5 squared minus 2. Now I'm going to activate equation number 4. That's the purple one. What did that 2 in front of that equation do to the graph? You notice that it narrowed the equation, or it made it steeper. Yeah. So in that case, what do you think this 0.5 in equation number 5 will do to the graph? Okay, I'm going to activate that. What do you think that 0.5 do to the graph? It made it flatter, right? Didn't it? Right? Now, how about this negative 2 in front of that equation will do to the graph? Does anybody have any? So here is, let's make a comparison between y equals 2 x plus 5 squared minus 2 and equation number 6. Y equals, so I am graphing number 4 and number 5 and number 6. It's number 4 and number 6. The only difference is that negative sign. Okay. And so that negative number, negative sign will flip the equation upside down. And then the last one, negative is 0.5. That will make it flatter. Okay. You see that? So the purple one is this one. And then again, 0.5 will make it flatter. Negative 2 will make it upside down. Negative 0.5 will be upside down, flat. You get the idea? What do you guys think? Okay, let's summarize this. Now, if you do not have a calculator, graphing calculator, for example, you can definitely use desmo.com/calculator right here. That would, you will be able to graph it, okay? In order to graph, introduce a new equation, you choose this plus button right here, and then press expression, and then you can add another equation. And you can go y equals, I don't know, what do you want to do? To do a x square, you do the little hat symbol just right above 6. You see that, the little hat above the number 6 on your keyboard? That is the exponent button. So you can do x to the second power. Okay, right there. If you're more interested in how to use that a little bit more, you can definitely let me know, and I'll be happy to go over with you. So let me go back to the whiteboard. Okay, so let's go back to the notes here, and let's complete taking the notes, and then we'll do some examples. Okay, so I guess I need to make a little more room. Um, so here is y equals x squared. And that was this parent graph. It's the most simple parabola that you can have, right? And then if you do y equals x plus 5 squared, and that will actually move the parabola to the negative direction to the left. And then, so that's what that plus 5 will do to the graph. Okay. It's kind of the concept. You guys remember when we did the factoring and then we found the x-intercept, right? And now when you had x plus 5, x minus 2, or something like that. Well, what is the x-intercept? X-intercept is actually the opposite number of that 5, wasn't it? It was negative 5 and positive 2, wasn't it? Those were the x-intercept. Right? It's the similar concept here. So where the x-intercept is, it has a plus 5, but the x-intercept where the graph is touching the x-axis is actually, it should be negative 5, isn't it? Okay. And so that's why it is the opposite number. Okay. And then we've had, if you add x squared, let's say minus 2, if you just subtract 2 after the square, and that will lower the parabola 2 spaces down. Okay. So, and I will just kind of summarize that at the end. And then let's see what's next. So if we have like a y equals, let's I'm just if you have a number in front of x squared, then that will make it makes it steeper. And then let's just make a graph of if you have negative number, let's say negative 3 x plus 5 squared, then that will make it upside down steeper. You guys doing okay? Am I making any sense to you? So to summarize this, we have this vertex form, and vertex form is made up of 3 different numbers. It's A and the H and K. Okay. And then and it is called a vertex because this H and K will determine where the vertex is going to be. I don't know, I feel like I'm not being very organized, just kind of scattered around. But hopefully it will we can all pull together at the end and make more sense. Okay. So just to summarize, first of all, let's talk about each letter A. Now, A is this number right here. Okay. If A is positive, the graph is open upward. Now, what does that mean? Open upward, the phrase open upward. It means it's going to be U-shape. And in math class, we will call that open upward. Okay, so it's going to be U-shape. If A, this number, is a negative, then it will be open downward. Open, no S, open downward. Okay, so I'd like to write this down. Now, if A is greater than 1, okay, that will be like a 3 or 4, then it will be vertically stretched. Now, what does that mean? It means it becomes narrow or steep. So it's like a steeper. But if a value is between 0 and 1, for example, like a 0.5, like a 0.5, or you can even have a fraction, 2/3, that's between 0 and 1, isn't it? Or 1/3, then it becomes flat. Vertically compressed, meaning flat. And so what my expectation for you guys for this section is just to be able to simply describe, identify, first of all, vertex, and then I would like you to describe and have a rough idea of where the parabola is going to be, whether it's going to be U-shape or open upwards or open downward, upside down. Is it vertically compressed, flat, or vertically stretched, steep? Okay, so that you can have a fairly good idea of where the parabola is going to be. Okay, so that's what example 2 is like. I'm going to ask you guys to on the test, like the question on number 2, example number 2. Okay, but let me give you a little bit more time on catching up on writing. Okay. Does anybody need more time to write this down? Okay. You guys ready to move on? So we'll do 2 examples, okay? First one. So here it is. Here is the graphing form or vertex form of a quadratic function. And I would like you to answer a couple of things. Is it vertically stretched or vertically compressed? First of all, stretched means steep. Compressed means flat. Okay. Now, is it open upward? Is it U shape? Or open downward? Is it upside down U shape? Okay. And then where is the vertex? So there are a couple of things that we need, okay? So I need you to be able to answer that just by looking at it. You don't need to do anything. You don't need to use a graphing calculator, okay? So first of all, is it vertically stretched, steep, or flat? To decide that, what are you going to do? You're going to look at this, the number A, and you're just going to disregard the sign, negative sign, okay? Don't worry about the negative sign. Just look at the numerical value, which is a 0.5. Is a 0.5 bigger than 1? Or is it between 0 and 0.99999? And it's less than 1, isn't it? Right? And that means it's a flat. So it is vertically compressed. Next one, is it open upward or downward? Is it U-shape or upside down? How do you tell that? And that you can tell that by the sign. And it's a negative. It's a negative A, isn't it? The first letter right here. The A is a negative number, isn't it? So because of that, that's gotta be open downward. So negative will tell that it's upside down U shape. 0.5 will tell you that it's going to be flat. And then the vertex is going to be made up of these two numbers. But for the what you want to be careful is that the x coordinate is always going to be opposite number. So the vertex is going to be, it's going to be 4, positive 6. Is everybody okay on that? Again, the vertex, just for the x coordinate, it has to be the opposite number. The y coordinate will just take that number itself, 6. But for x coordinate, it has to be the opposite sign. So it will be 4, 6. So now with all that information, we have a fairly good idea of where the parabola is going to be. So let's just sketch that. First of all, vertex is 4, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So that's going to be the vertex. And we know that it's going to be open downward. That means it's upside down. And then it's a flat. So let's just draw. It's a rough estimate. It's not the accurate graph, okay? But let's write down pretty flat, upside down U shape. Something like that. I don't even know where the x-intercepts are going to be, but that's what it is, okay? So let's try to confirm that. I'm gonna graph negative 0.5 x minus 4 squared plus 6. So would you take a look at that? So here's my calculator. Negative 0.5 x minus 4 squared plus 6. And I'm going to graph it, okay? Okay. I was a little off on where the x-intercepts are, but x-intercept is graphed somewhere around here. And so, but in general, roughly speaking, we've got the right location there. Okay. Does that make sense? Does anybody have any questions so far? Now the other, I guess I was wrong. The other type of a question that I may ask you on the test is something like this. Okay, I'm going to ask you to do the opposite. I'm going to ask you to design the equation. Okay, now each person could have a different numbers, but there are some certain numbers that needs to be the same. Okay, so for example, yeah, some of you are already working on it. So if the parent graph is this, right, this is the most simple parabola, right, y equals x squared. Now you're going to shift this graph 3 units to the left, okay? So you're going to shift 3 units to the left. That means to the -3, and then 1 unit down. And then it's going to be open upward and vertically compressed. So it's going to be flat and open upward, something like that. And we need the equation for that. So how do we do that? Okay. So we need to supply 3 numbers. Okay. First, well, do you guys want to try that? Come up with the equation. So what kind of a value do you need to pick? It's vertically compressed, means it's going to be flat. How do you make it flat? You have to pick a number between 0 and 1. It has to be less than 1. So 0.2, 0.3. So each person, you guys have all different numbers. Let's say I'm just going to do point, well, I'm going to say point 0.2. Gentry picked 0.5. That's perfect. 0.6, 0.7, okay? And then it's going to be open upward. It's a U shape. So it has to be positive 0.2. You okay with that? Now you're going to shift the 3 units to the left. That's a negative direction, isn't it? That means inside of the parentheses, it has to be opposite number. It's +3. And then you're going to lower 1 unit down. So it has to be -1. So that will be the possible, the equation. Okay. And then the vertex is right there, right? The vertex is going to be -3, -1, which is right there. I hope I'm making sense to you. What do you guys think? You get it? Now let's do the assignment. Okay. I think I just have a couple of questions here, 2 each. Are you guys ready? Can I move up? Okay, here's the assignment. Now you don't need to write down everything here. At least Let's write it down, the equation. Okay. So here's number one. This is a homework 2.5. Okay. So let's write it down in your notes. Don't write the instructions, the wording word by word. Okay. I just want you to just describe in the keywords. Is it vertically stretched or compressed? Which one is it? Let's just do one at a time. Vertically stretched is a steep, and a compressed is a flat. Which one is it? Is this a steep one or a flat one? How can you tell? It is going to be steep. It's going to be vertically stretched because it is 3. It's 3 is bigger than 1, isn't it? So it's going to be steep. Okay. Just disregard the negative sign and just take the absolute value of that, which is just 3. Okay. And 3 is bigger than 1. So it's a steep. Okay. Next, is it open upward or downward? Is it U shape or upside down U shape? It is, what would you say? It is upside down, downward. Because, why? Because of the negative. Okay. Next, we're going to identify the vertex. Vertex is identified by the last 2 numbers. But what do you remember about x coordinate? X coordinate has to be the opposite value. So it is going to be 2, 5, not negative 2, 5, just 2, 5. Now with that information, we can do a little sketch. The vertex is 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5, which is right here. And it's upside down, downward, and then it's steep. So you've got the rough sketch of where the parabola is going to be. You guys okay? So again, just write down the equation. Why don't you try that number 2 all by yourself? That's right. It's the x coordinate of the vertex is always the opposite number. Did you guys get that? So let's get started. The graph is which one, vertically stretched or vertically compressed? It is vertically compressed because that number 1/2, that's a 0.5, isn't it? It's less than 1. So it has to be vertically compressed, meaning flat. Next, is it going to be open upward or downward? It is going to be open upward. It's going to be U-shape because it is positive 1/2. Because it's positive number. And the vertex is going to be the last two numbers, 3 and -1. But x coordinate has to be the opposite. So it will be -3, -1. Now we can sketch -3, -1, which is right here. It is open upward and then flat. So something like that. Vertex. Okay. Can we move on? You guys with me? I don't know. I sometimes become a little uncertain of what you guys are working on right now or are not working on. Is anybody playing games on a phone right now? Because I've seen my son doing that kind of stuff, playing games, playing Minecraft while he's listening to the teacher. Is anybody doing that? Okay, number 3 is the reverse process. So yeah, I'm gonna have the description. Now you're going to write the equations. Yeah, depends on the class. Okay, so why don't you give me the equation? Again, the keyword is right here, write the possible equation. So especially the value for A, each person could choose a different number, but within the parameter. Okay, so okay, so what do you guys have? It shifts 3 units to the right. That means it's going to be x. Right means positive, right? That means inside the parentheses, it has to be the opposite. So it has to be -4 right there. Oh, wait a second. 3 units to the, I'm sorry, 3 to 3 units. So it's going to be x -3. And then 4 units down. So that's got to be -4 right there. It's open upward. That means it's got to be positive number. And then vertically stretched. Vertically stretch. If you stretch vertically, doesn't that make it skinnier? Right? So that's how I remember it. Okay, if you vertically stretch, if you pull vertically, does that make it steeper? So that will be like you got to pick a number bigger than 1. So I'll say, like, I don't know, 5. And it has to be open upward. So that's gonna be its positive number. Okay. So it's positive 5. You could have picked like a positive 4, positive 3, positive 2, or even 1.5. That'll be all correct. What do you guys think? But that -3 and -4, it has to be that number. Okay. And the vertex is 3, -4. Okay, here's the last question, guys. And then we're done. What's the car key? No. The small one. It's on my dresser. Okay, so again, you try that. Number 4. Last question, guys. Okay. で、あれ、新しいの間違って昔のに送らんようにね。そして、That was Mrs. Takara, by the way. And we, by the way, I don't know if you heard, we speak Japanese at home. Does anybody speak any different language at home? Yeah. What do you speak, Hope? Okay. Let's see. All right. So we've got open downward. That's like upside down. So it's got to be negative number. The first number has to be negative. And then vertically compressed. So that's a flat. That means you have to choose a number less than 1. So like a 0.2. Very good. Do you speak that too, Mia? Or maybe understand it, at least? My kids don't really speak Japanese well, but they understand what we talk to them in Japanese. They speak back in English. So, yeah. And then, let's see, you shift 5 units to the left. Left means that's a negative, right? That means inside the parentheses, it has to be positive 5. And then 2 units up. That means plus 2. Okay, so that would be the possible equation. And the vertex is going to be negative 5. Yep, I think that's it. What do you guys think? Are you guys getting this? You are more than welcome to stay in class. to ask more questions. Yeah, okay, very good. I will be happy to go over a few things with you. Otherwise, please make sure that you take a picture of this, the assignment, and then turn it in. Okay. I think I made the assignment available, published. So please make sure that you do that. Again, tomorrow and Friday, we will just review. This is the end of the unit, unit two, last section of the unit two. And so we will review that tomorrow and on Friday, and I will make that test, unit test, two test available on Friday as well. So with that, well, Parker, did you write it down? I don't want you, I need to see your notes. Okay. If you could do that, that would be great. So, with that, have a great day, guys. I will see you guys tomorrow. Okay. Take care, guys.